What if you were given everything you ever wanted, only to find out that you still want more? I'm Dre, and this is The Midnight Hour. Tonight, we will be reading a short story from writer D.H. Lawrence and his very famous short story, The Rocking Horse Winner. And The Rocking Horse Winner follows a family of 5, father, mother, son, and 2 daughters. And they live a very esteemed lifestyle. They're comfortable in terms of how they present themselves, but they're always in need of just a little bit more money. So much so that their house begins to whisper, there must be more money, there must be more money. Now, the mother considers herself incredibly unlucky, and she presents that to her son, Paul, and he can't quite understand the difference between being lucky and being well off, being rich. And she tries to explain that they are different and that being rich is the result of being lucky. He asks her if she considers herself lucky, and she says, no, I don't consider myself lucky. I've married a very unlucky man, and I have an unlucky life. Paul says, well, I'm lucky. I'm lucky myself. And he, at that point, plants that idea so deep within himself that he's going to prove it to her. Some way, somehow, he will prove to his mother that he is lucky. So that's how the story unfolds. He basically starts to place bets with his uncle Oscar on horse races. Now, for as long as the story is, not much happens in terms of plot. But there is this reflective quality to the story. And so basically it unfolds in a way that the uncle begins to place bigger bets and bigger bets on these horses that Paul names. Though they never ask him how he comes about these names. He just does. He comes up with them. Now, sometimes they go big and they win. Sometimes they don't. It's not a 100% sure thing. But the big derby is coming up and Paul needs to win this one. So he starts to get very anxious and starts to deprive himself just rest and well-being, and his mother notices. So while she's in town one night, she phones home and asks if everything is okay with Paul. And the maid says, yes, everything is fine with him. Do you want me to go check on him? The mom says, no, I'll be home in a little bit. So once she gets home, she creeps up to Paul's room, and just outside of it, she starts to hear this noise. She's not exactly sure what it is. She can't place it, but she knows she's heard it before. Upon opening the door and turning on the lights, she sees Paul in the corner, frantically riding his rocking horse, and in such a deep trance, and him just starting to blurt out this horse's name, Malabar. It's Malabar. Malabar is the winner. And she freaks out because she's never seen him this way. And he actually falls into a deep fever, falls ill. 2 days later, his business partner, Bassett, who has also put some money down on the horses, comes in and tells Paul, you did it. Malabar was the winner. You have won 80,000 pounds. Paul turns and looks at his mom and says, didn't I tell you I was lucky? And with that, he passes away. And the final phrase of the story is his uncle telling his mother, you won 80,000 pounds, but you lost a son in the process. And that's how the story ends. So for tonight, we're actually going to only be looking at 2 passages instead of 3 because the first is so big. Now, the first passage is basically introducing the house and the situation and the initial conversation between Paul and his mother about luck, and it goes. And so the house came to be haunted by the unspoken phrase, "There must be more money. There must be more money." The children could hear it all the time, though nobody said it aloud. They heard it at Christmas, when the expensive and splendid toys filled the nursery. Behind the shining modern rocking horse, behind the smart doll's house, a voice would start whispering, "There must be more money. There must be more money." And the children would stop playing to listen for a moment. They would look into each other's eyes to see if they had all heard. And each one saw in the eyes of the other two that they too had heard. There must be more money. There must be more money. It came whispering from the springs of the still swaying rocking horse. And even the horse, bending his wooden, champing head, heard it. The big doll, sitting so pink and smirking in her new pram, could hear it quite plainly, and seemed to be smirking all the more self-consciously because of it. The foolish puppy, too, that took the place of the teddy bear. He was looking so extraordinarily foolish for no other reason but that he heard the secret whisper all over the house, "There must be more money." Yet nobody ever said it aloud. The whisper was everywhere, and therefore no one spoke it, just as no one ever says, "We are breathing," in spite of the fact that breath is coming and going all the time. "Mother," said the boy Paul one day, "why don't we keep a car of our own? Why do we always use uncle's, or else a taxi?" "Because we're the poor members of the family," said the mother. "But why are we, Mother?" "Well, I suppose," she said slowly and bitterly, "it's because your father has no luck." The boy was silent for some time. "Is luck money, Mother?" he asked, rather timidly. "No, Paul, not quite. It's what causes you to have money." "Oh," said Paul vaguely. "I thought when Uncle Oscar said filthy lucre, it meant money." "Filthy lucre does mean money," said the mother, "but it's lucre, not luck." "Oh," said the boy. "Then what is luck, Mother?" "It's what causes you to have money. If you're lucky, you have money. That's why it's better to be born lucky than rich. If you're rich, you may lose your money, but if you're lucky, you will always get more money." "Oh, will you? And is father not lucky?" "Very unlucky, I should say," she said bitterly. The boy watched her with unsure eyes. "Why?" he asked. "I don't know. Nobody ever knows why one person is lucky and another unlucky. Don't they? Nobody at all? Does nobody know?" "Perhaps God, but he never tells." "He ought to, then. And aren't you lucky either, Mother?" "I can't be, if I married an unlucky husband." "But by yourself, aren't you?" "I used to think I was, before I married. Now I think I am very unlucky indeed." "Why?" "Well, never mind. Perhaps I'm not really," she said. The child looked at her to see if she meant it, but he saw, by the lines of her mouth, that she was only trying to hide something from him. "Well, anyhow," he said stoutly, "I'm a lucky person." "Why?" said his mother with a sudden laugh. He stared at her. He didn't even know why he had said it. "God told me," he asserted, brazening it out. "I hope he did, dear," she said, again with a laugh, but rather bitter. "He did, Mother." "Excellent," said the mother, using one of her husband's exclamations. The boy saw she did not believe him, or rather that she paid no attention to his assertion. This angered him somewhere, and made him want to compel her attention. What we have here is a son wanting to prove to his mother so badly that he has been born lucky and that he can prove that he is lucky somehow, some way. He sees that hole in her heart from not having enough money, and he wants so badly to make things right. And mostly he wants the whispering to stop. Now, whether that whispering is very symbolic of the energy flowing throughout the house, or that is an actual voice saying it, maybe the mother herself, we're not really entirely sure. Now, the second section we're going to read is the last section of the story. And it is right when his business partner Bassett informs Paul that Malabar did win the Derby. And it says, Malabar, Malabar. Did I say Malabar, mother? Did I say Malabar? Do you think I'm lucky, mother? I knew Malabar, didn't I? Over 80,000 pounds. I call that lucky, don't you, mother? Over 80,000 pounds. I knew. Didn't I know I knew? Malabar came in all right. If I ride my horse till I'm sure, then I tell you, Bassett, you can go as high as you like. Did you go for all you were worth, Bassett? I won 1,000 on it, Master Paul. I never told you, mother, that if I can ride my horse and get there, then I'm absolutely sure. Oh, absolutely. Mother, did I ever tell you I am lucky? No, you never did, said his mother. But the boy died in the night. And even as he lay dead, his mother heard her brother's voice saying to her, My God, Hester, you're 80-odd thousand to the good, and a poor devil of a son to the bad. But, poor devil, he's best gone out of a life where he rides his rocking horse to find a winner. So let's go right into answering our initial question of the night. What if you are given everything you want but still want more? Well, in this specific case, Hester, the mother, and the entire family probably wanted as much as they could get, but at what cost? At what sacrifice? Because this story really speaks to that materialistic want and the need to be of a certain social status, because it does say that this family was living a certain way. They were upholding a certain image. Now, even with that said, the mother knows that they're the poor members of the family. So it goes to show that they know their actual financial situation, yet they so badly want to be of a different social status that Paul will literally ride himself to death on his rocking horse in order to get that reality. So it's just one of those stories that help us reflect on what's really important and what lengths certain people will go to get what they want. Next week, we will be looking at the difference between human arrogance versus primal instinct. Like if you felt something, comment if you wrote something, and I will see you next Sunday at the midnight hour.